Oh, hold on. Let me get this back up here. That was just funny. Brett Favre's retiring. Finally, there were no tearful goodbyes this time. He's just retiring. Brett Farve is just going. He came back. He played a year with the Jets after the Packers didn't want him, and it looked for a while like he may lead the Jets deep into the playoffs, possibly to the Super Bowl. He had that one game where he threw 6 touchdowns, a career high. So Brett had some highs and some lows. He finished off the season really poorly. Jets didn't make the playoffs. Their coach gets fired. Just ended up being just a train wreck of a season at the end. But, Brett's bowing out finally. I believe he will stay gone this time. I think he's had enough. And it's sad to see him go because I've always been a Brett Favre fan. And it'll be weird, It'll be weird. It'll be weird on opening day and going through the season with Brett Favre not being a starting quarterback somewhere. He's just gotten used to it. I mean, for most of my life, he's been there. You get used to that kind of thing. So, Favre's leaving. Just wanted to mention that. Not too much to talk about. Michael Vick, somewhat of a dog entrepreneur, you may say, getting out of jail in July, possibly earlier. And the Falcons are shopping his contract around, trying to get a deal. Hold on a second. Smith Dog says that about Brett Favre, the reason his year ended poorly was because he didn't spend the offseason working his conditioning as opposed to putting his team's management and coaching staff hostage. Well, come on now. Be nice to Brett. Be nice to Brett. Sure, he held them hostage, but think about how bad it really was. It wasn't that bad. I think that Brett earned the right to hold the Packers hostage a little bit. And worst case scenario, he puts off his decision for a long time and then finally says he retires. Let's just say hypothetically this is what happened. So they move forward just like they were going to do. No big deal. Let's say he would have held the Packers hostage all year. They decided to go ahead with all offseason. They decided to go ahead with what's his name? I'm blanking on the set. What's the Packers' new quarterback's name? Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, sorry. They decided to go ahead with Rodgers, but then Brett decides last minute, no, I do want to come back. They wouldn't have had to change the game plan around for Brett, as he's been there for 17 years. Hostage or not, nothing had to change for the Packers, really. They didn't have to change anything. But when Brett decided he wanted to come back, they could have brought him right back in. It's not like they had to change the game plan. They could have just ran it the same way they've been running it for 17 years. So I think that the Packers were in the wrong. I think that Brett deserved to come back and start for Green Bay if he wished last season, but they didn't want him back. And that's all it was. It wasn't he didn't make up his mind fast enough. It was we didn't want him back, and that's what it really was. So, don't mistake that for anything else. It wouldn't have been hard for the Packers to get him right back on there, right back on the roster, right back in the game. It wouldn't have been hard. And I think Brett Favre earned the right to come back 2 games into the season if he wanted to and start. I think he earned that right. He's a Hall of Famer. But Mike Vick, here we go. Michael Vick, getting out in July. So what's going to happen? Well, let's say the Falcons do find somebody willing to take on this contract, which I believe it doesn't run out until 2013 or something. It's got to be ridiculous. Certainly it's going to need restructured before anybody takes this on. Nobody's going to want to pay Mike Vick money, as soon as he gets back. Nobody. But let's say someone does take an interest in Michael Vick, and it's already been reported that the Cowboys are not interested. But let's say somebody does. Let's say somebody does take an interest. What's this do to Goodell? I mean, to me, this is kind of interesting because, Goodell's been a good commissioner. I like what he's done so far, filling in for Tagliabue, taking Tagliabue's place. Goodell's been a good commissioner, but this is going to be a test. I mean, this is going to be serious. He's got to decide. For one, do I reinstate Michael Vick? I mean, do I reinstate Michael Vick? Huge decision, because I mean, if he says no, I mean, then we're setting a bar. We're saying, listen, if you do something this bad, you don't get to play anymore. You do not get to play ever. We don't forgive you. No second chances. Nothing. All right, and you're out. And that's an option. He can do that, and certainly he has the right to. I mean, Mike Vick's a convicted felon, right? Goodell could be like, listen, man, you've had enough chances. And it's not like Vick had a gleaming record before this happened. I mean, he's kind of had some character issues. So, Goodell could just shut the door on him. But look how many chances Pac-Man's got. He got another chance this past season. Mess that up. He'll probably get another chance. But there's no PETA upset about Pac-Man Jones. There's no animal rights activism. There's nothing like no picket lines, no boycott. There's nothing. No protests. There's nothing. But if Mike Vick gets reinstated, boy, that'll just open the floodgates. I mean, there'll be protests outside Goodell's office. There'll be protests outside the offices of whichever team decide to take on Mike Vick. This could be big. This could be serious, and it's coming up fast, very fast. Does anybody? I mean, didn't it seem like just a few months ago, maybe, when Mike Vick got locked up? It's been a few years, I guess, right? A couple years, year and a half. Been long enough. He's about to get out. He's about to get out. And to our friend in the chat room, Ray Lewis killed a guy for God's sake, and no one said anything. He wasn't convicted, and so that's a difference. I mean, Mike Vick was actually convicted. So I'm very interested to see how this pans out, because honestly, and Smith Dog says there's no easy way out on this, and there's not. Goodell's got no easy way out. Like it or not, Michael Vick coming back to football is good for the game. It generates interest. And there's an old saying, no publicity is bad publicity, and that's 100% right. That is 100% accurate. Any way you slice it, if people are talking about you, at least they're talking about you, regardless of what they're saying. If people are tuned in, they're tuned in. Regardless of what they're tuned in to see, they're tuned in. So, Smith Dog got to take off. See you, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Show's almost over anyway.